We're all here today for seeing decisions and exactly what benefits this will bring to your council. So if you've not been to one of our decisions hours before, this may be new to you. If you have been to one previously, welcome back. So what is Decisions? Well, Decisions is a wonderful project, a program, runs on Microsoft Teams and works fantastically with Microsoft Word and Planner, and allows you to produce really nice agendas and minutes and manage your action lists, all from within one central program. It's really good at engaging with councillors and external presenters. So you may have principal authorities. Decisions allows you to engage with a much wider audience. And again, as we run through some of the slides, you'll begin to see it has a very slick, modern look. It's very intuitive. I did a couple of demonstrations with Fran when we were getting her set up with Decisions, and it's very intuitive to use. Once you've got an understanding of how it does things, it's really easy to put your agenda and minutes together. So we'll run through that. Then Gabriella will do a practical demonstration of Decisions. So she will show you Decisions itself in action. So she'll be on the Cloudy Council. And then, of course, we'll have some, if you've got any questions during the broadcast, if you can raise your hand or put a message in chat. I believe David probably and is manning the chat today for me, so we'll answer any questions and anything that we see raised in there. While I've got Mia and Gabriella here, we can see if we can answer them for you. And of course, there's a couple of new features that we do want to show today that are literally the first time that they've been seen by anyone. They are really exciting, and we're really looking forward to showing you them today. And of course, we'll give some best practice and advice on using Decisions and how standing agenda series and the templates can work. And then we've got a couple of special offers that we will talk about later on. So what does Decisions do? Why does it make it better to run meetings? So council meetings are all about structure. Councils are all about structure, and Decisions helps bring structure to your meetings. So whether you've got just council meetings and you have no committees, no working groups, or you are a larger town or principal authority with full council, many committees, working groups, task to finish groups, SLT meetings, Decisions can create and manage all of those meeting agenda and agenda packs for you. The management then of the meetings, any actions that are raised from those meetings can be also distributed and shared amongst those attendees and a wider audience. Preparation for the meeting, you've got all of your supporting documentation, you've got all of your additional maybe there's some Excel, maybe some PDF, Word documents that you want to attach to an agenda item. Decisions makes that easy to locate, put, share, and control distribution of. Even down to a single PDF, you could combine everything together. I know many councils are used to having all of their supporting documentation as an appendix to the agenda pack, and again, Decisions works this way. During the meeting, of course, minutes can be taken. We can write those down. Many clerks do that. They have a notepad. They may mark it. They may write it into Word or maybe even Notepad or in a computer, their laptop with them. Decisions makes it easy to capture the minutes into Microsoft OneNote or Microsoft Word. OneNote is really good, and Gabriella will show you this during the meeting. You can capture them really quickly, and this allows the production of the final minutes much quicker. So we'll run through that in the demonstration. So building agendas. These can be done from within Teams or Outlook. You can start a meeting from either of those. So those of you that have Microsoft 365 already and are doing meetings in Teams and Outlook, this will be familiar to you. If you're not on Microsoft 365, you would need to be for using Decisions, as that is a Microsoft platform product. So the screen up here that we can see, we've got a meeting in September, and this would be the view that you would have inside Teams. We can see a list of meetings that are available to you, whether by council or committee membership. They are all on the left-hand side, and you have a very quick summary of the agenda there in front of you. So you can go through your meetings really, really quickly. If you've got a lot of meetings, if you're looking for particular subject information and you're not sure about searching, it's very, very easy to preview those meetings. Standing agendas are catered for, so this is one of the exciting features of Decisions. If you have a series of meetings, council meetings, and you've planned the dates for the year, you can create a standing agenda for that meeting series, and from the templates that Gabriella will show, you can then load up your full council template or your planning committee template with the statutory items on it, or your and no work items. Save those then as a template and apply those to a standing agenda series. So every month when you come to your planning or your finance meeting, these will be available straight for you. So again, only the work items will need to be added in. So it saves a lot of time. You know, this is one of the big advantages of using the system, is you're cutting down on a lot of repetitive tasks and having the system do that for you. The same with requesting agenda items. We've all got times when, you know, councillors, we may reach out to them, or maybe outside bodies that you are looking to see what could be included on the agenda for this month. There's a feature built into this. It can send out an email or a Teams message. So Teams internally emails to those externally saying, look, we're putting an agenda together for this month, say planning committee meeting or finance meeting. Are there any items that you want on it? Now, that may only go to your chair, or it may go to a wider audience. It's a way of capturing information. And for those councillors or other staff members that have a Decisions license, you're then able to load Decisions up yourself. You can fill in all of the items for the agenda, attach all of your supporting documentation, submit that to the clerk or the council secretary, who is then able to add that into the agenda, if applicable, with minimal work. So again, cutting down on some time for all involved, and that helps improve engagement. So this is one of the useful tools in Decisions. It allows you to, it's almost like having someone sat next to you and say, you know, have I notified the right number of people? Have I got everybody, you know, does each agenda item have someone assigned to it? Have I got the timings in there? So again, this is one of the parts of Decisions that Gabriella will show. You can assign a time for an agenda item. We can see there this meeting starts at 11 and there's 15 minutes for the first review of action items, and then the next item will follow on after. So have you got everything set up for the meeting? Is everything done? Is the meeting book and agenda published? Have we notified everybody? And that will boost the engagement score. Of course, the agenda quality is based on some information that you put into it. So it's a useful tool just to improve the agenda and the quality of the agenda and the engagement with the council and wider audience. Now, something that we have in Decisions already, and it's part of the unique package that we provide to councils. We've worked really, really hard with Mia and other members of the Decisions team, and we have a very unique package available for UK local councils that includes a lot of features that aren't in the standard version that you could get. So voting is important. In Wales, obviously, electronic voting and hybrid meetings are allowed. In England, we had those obviously during the COVID period, and I know that it's something that is being looked at now to allow a return to hybrid meetings. Voting, of course, electronically is something that's really, really important. If we're going to go to a hybrid meeting, people need to be able to vote remotely from that meeting. If we've got a camera and everyone raises their hands, it can be done that way. However, Decisions has a really, really good, secure electronic voting module, and there's several ways to interact with it. If you have the mobile app, as we can see there, it's a very obvious yes, no, abstain. And if you're running it either by the web or in Teams, again, you see a very clear pop-up that a vote has begun. Votes are then recorded electronically, and once everybody has voted, the vote then is closed, and the clerk or meeting secretary is able to close that vote off and move on to the next item. So that's really, really exciting. So that's in there now. So if in England we have access to this feature in the near future, those armed with decisions will be ready to go. The minutes, of course, the most important part of any meeting is the minutes, and this is where it's really, really good in decisions. If you are using its built-in tools, OneNote is automatically set up for you, and we'll have Fran talk about that a little bit when we get Fran in later on, and Gabriella will show us how that works. OneNote makes it very structured, very easy to work out where you are, and of course then it's very searchable. You can look for keywords or terms in OneNote in those minutes, or directly in Decisions itself, and jump straight to where you are. And armed with some templates that we do, we've worked hard with Aubergine, who some of you may be familiar with. They are very, very big on web accessibility. We've worked hard with them on accessible agenda and minute documents, and we've worked hard with Gabriella at Decisions to get some accessible documents made so that they are templated. So again, where everybody's used to top and tailing a Word document, this is a process that can be automated from within Decisions itself. Again, we were talking earlier on about this being a Microsoft 365 based product. It uses a lot from within the 365 product arena. So here we can see Excel and Planner being used by it. So if you're in a meeting and an action or a task needs to be assigned to an officer or even a counsellor, that can be done from within the meeting. We have some very a nice pop-up screen. We can fill all the details in and save that again. That can be recorded in the minute. So you could have the minute if it's resolved to, in this case, David's going to do something, and then we could assign a task to David to go and do that task. So it's very joined up. That task list then is available in Excel. So some councils have an action list, some may have a task list. It can automate the process of this, and of course that task list then can be attached to an agenda item, so that if you've got an action list follow-up agenda item, the live task list from the system is included in that. So again, a really useful feature, and it helps you pull information together when you're building the minutes. You can see the tasks. If you're in a task, you can see the corresponding minute or agenda item that task relates to. Again, this is automatically filled in for you. You don't have to go and look separately. Finalising the minutes, we have our template, a couple of clicks from inside Word with the Decisions button that appears on the toolbar, and it will merge in all of the minutes for you, lay them out really nice, put in the minute numbers, and it can mark who was present and so forth, and produce you some really nicely formatted documents that then can be distributed by email or printed off, and of course ready for the next meeting for signing. Talking about one of the questions we always get asked, yes, the agenda item numbering, minute numbering is customizable. There's a very wide range of formats that it supports. So if you have a pre-existing scheme that you are using for your minute numbers, Decisions can pick up. So if we were, I'd say planning is P1234, and your next meeting is in Decisions, it can be P1235, for argument's sake. It works really well, and it's very easy to configure. And again, it's a bit of a time-saving feature. I speak to many clerks, and they save a lot of the minute refs in a spreadsheet that they have. Decisions makes that slightly easier for them. Now, we mentioned earlier on about the app. So there is an app for counsellors that runs on Android devices or on iOS. So if you have an Android tablet or a Samsung phone or an Apple iPad or an Apple phone, you can download the app, you log in with your Microsoft 365 credentials, and you will have access to any meeting agendas that you have been invited to. You can get an overview of upcoming meetings. You can then dive into the agenda items. You can look at the supporting documentation. And one of the really, really good features of the package is you can annotate your own copy of the meeting book. So you may have a couple of notes in there. There's a couple of items that you may want to raise a comment on. Using this allows you to annotate that copy. It'll open up your own private copy. The annotations are yours. They're personal annotations, not shared. So you can make some notes in a document. You may have a spreadsheet or a Word document, and you can just put in some notes against a column around there. And of course, armed with the app, as and when, if you're in Wales now, you can see this pop up. We have a couple of councils using Decisions in Wales, and when they go to an electronic vote, they have the screen that we can see there on the right hand side, giving them the ability to vote like that. And again, the electronic voting supports in room as well as remote voting. So you could be in the room and you could just lean over and touch your tablet and vote the way in which you want to vote. Now, the exciting part of today, and Gabriella will be showing this on, is we call it the Decisions web presence. So Decisions natively produces the PDF for the agenda, meeting book, agenda pack, and the minutes. And here at Cloudy, we've put together a program that runs inside Microsoft Teams that allows you to publish that those minutes and meeting books to the web. And there's several ways that we can integrate this. We've got a simplified integration method, which we will show on our Demonstration Cloudy Council website. Additionally, councillors' information can also be published via this. You can capture the information within the app, and then that can be published out to the website as well. So the two are in sync. It's really, really intuitive. It's really, really easy to use. And again, we're looking forward to Gabriella giving us a bit of a demonstration of that. Gabriella saw it for the first time yesterday. That's how new this is. So we had a couple of run throughs. So I've got everything crossed for Gabriella when she starts to do her demonstration that all goes well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to hand over to Gabriella. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'll allow Gabriella to take over the meeting and run through a demonstration of decisions. And if there's any questions from anybody, if you want to raise a hand or put that question in chat, myself and David will be there. So Gabriella, to you, please.
Thank you, Steve. I hope everybody can see my screen properly. Good. Right, so this is the app that we've been speaking about for the past 15 minutes or so. This is what it actually looks like. I am going to demonstrate it from an online Microsoft Teams environment today, but it works exactly the same way if you're using desktop. So what it is basically a plugin that sits here underneath all your other Teams apps. You can add it yourself. And what we can see on the interface are three main elements, let's say. On the left, we have an overview of all the meetings that currently exist in our calendar. So I will be acting as a clerk today. I'm only new to my role, so I only have one meeting that I've prepared for and attended. If you were not like me and you've attended quite a few, so let's say if you're Francesca, you have quite a few of them here. You can navigate very easily between past and upcoming meetings, and you can also navigate depending on the your team structure. So if you have specific teams for specific types of meetings, you would be able to select them like this as well. You have some filters that you can apply. So there will be some that are excluded by default, your out of offices, cancellations, etc. Not everything that is in your calendar is always a meeting. So you can filter them like that. you can also search by date or keyword. So if I had more meetings here, I could narrow it down by using the search functionality. And another search function is top right here, where I can type in keywords. So if I were to type, let's say, confidential, I would get an overview of all of the meetings and documents that feature this particular keyword. So maybe I have a meeting where I remember I discussed something. I can't remember when it happened. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember vaguely what it was about. So I could use this function to do some research. Now, moving to the center, what we see here is information about our meeting. When is it taking place? What is the status of me accepting or not accepting the invite? If it's a virtual meeting, I can join straight from here. I can see when is it taking place, what is it called, and underneath I'll get a summary, I will get a summary of what is on the agenda. As a clerk, I also have some options here that allow me to, for instance, request agenda items from the other participants. So this is something that Steve was mentioning earlier. I can take my own private notes. If I was a participant or a counselor, I could suggest my own agenda items from here, or I could simply click on view agenda and go to it. We're going to do this a bit later in the demo. I can also see when was the agenda made public, for instance. If we move to the right, we have the meeting engagement score. It is pretty poor at the minute because we haven't done much onto the in relation to our agenda. If minutes have been produced, we can get an overview of them here. Then we have a list of all of the attendees and some updates in terms of what has happened to the agenda. So we have created the meeting and we have made the agenda public and nothing else has happened. Other things that we can expect to see here is if somebody has suggested an agenda item or something has changed onto the agenda. So we get a bit of an overview from that point of view as well. So this is what your main interface would look like. How does it actually work? Well, first thing is first, we actually need a calendar event. So I'm going to use Teams today, but if you use Outlook, it will look and work exactly the same. So let's assume I am preparing for a meeting that is taking place tomorrow. So let's go ahead and create one. I'm going to call it Extraordinary Council Meeting. So meeting, I'm going to invite some attendees. So series of counselors are required as attendees. Let's invite David here. Maybe Lisa and one more. And Linda. And here we are. This is all we need to do for now. It's going to take 1 hour. I don't need to add any details. The agenda will follow. So it's just a quick note to say that this is happening. And I'm sending the invite. So this is all we need to do for the time being. If we go back to decisions, what we're seeing is that our meeting already appears here. And the center stage here looks a bit different than it did earlier. The main absent is we don't have an agenda. So how do we get there? Well, as a clerk, I have options. I can request participants to propose items, or I can go ahead and create it myself. So let's go ahead and do both. First, we're going to contact the participants and ask them to submit some topics. So I have the option of leaving everybody in or excluding some of them if I don't want all of them. And there is a pre-populated message. I can change it to whatever I want. I can send either an email or a Teams chat to ask them to do that. So let's go ahead and send the request. That's good. In the meantime, while we wait for the participants to propose some topics, we can start creating the agenda. And we have options. We have start from scratch, or we can use a template. We'll start from scratch so we can see how we can save an agenda template. First thing is first, where do we want to save our meeting? So I'm going to choose one of my dedicated teams here. I'm going to go with Cloudy Council, and I'm going to select my meetings channel. Since it's a meeting, let's move on. Here we are about to start creating our first agenda item. First thing is first, how much time do we need for this topic? Let's say I need 5 minutes and it's opening remarks. I might need a description. I'm going to say apologies, announcement maybe, anything that you might have in an opening topic. Maybe I want to format it somehow. I can add bullet points, etc., etc. I can add some files, supporting documentation to any of my items. So maybe I want to add this one. I'm adding a Word document, but you can add any other types of documents. And an important part is, what is the purpose of adding this topic to the agenda? Are we hoping to make a decision? Are we just going to have a discussion around it, or is it just for information? Bear in mind that these are can be customized. So these are just standard labels, but they can say anything such as, I don't know, for approval or anything like that. So let's say this is just for information since it's opening. And the last thing I want to do is here, I want to assign a presenter to my topic. So once I click on that, I get an overview of all of the people that I have invited to my meeting. So let's say Helen here is going to take charge of this topic, and I'm going to save my agenda. For the time being, it is saved as draft, which means that me as an organizer, I am for the time being, the only person who can see it. I can assign a co-author. So if you're a larger council and you have a deputy clerk, or you work in pairs, you could assign somebody else to help you and assign them as a co-author. Now, let's assume, so this is our draft. Maybe one of the counselors decided that they actually want to submit an item for on the agenda, so they might just open Decisions and go to suggest items, or they might just access the chat that we just sent them earlier. So let's say they want 10 minutes to discuss about the recycling center. Recycling center, and they want to discuss amending the opening hours. They might submit documentation as well. I don't want to do that. We've already seen that. And this is a topic for discussion, and they can inform the organizer of the meeting, so the clerk, either via email or via Teams chat. Let's go ahead and do that. Once it's sent, something happens here. So we have this little icon that indicates that there is a suggested item on our agenda, and we also see it here. Me, as an organizer, I'm going to open my agenda and see here a new section called Suggested Agenda Items. And I have the power of approving this item, or rejecting it, or storing it in something called a meeting planner, which means, yes, this is a great item. This is just maybe not the right meeting, or we don't have the time for it. We can park it and use it some other time. For today, I'm just going to go ahead and approve it. It will become topic number 2. The person who submitted it will be notified that their topic has been accepted, and is now moving up onto the agenda and becoming part of our topics of conversation today. We can also have sub-items. So if here you had something underneath, you could add a 1.1, for instance, if you wanted to use that. You don't need to do that today. Now, our agenda is still in draft. Again, I'm the only person who can see it. I haven't shared it with anybody else. What I can do now is make it public, and I make it public by publishing it. And when I publish it, I can choose to include a link to my agenda in my calendar invite, or not do that. Let's go ahead and do it. Right, so now we no longer have the draft label here. And if we go back to the main screen, now everybody can see it. And we also see here that there is an agenda. This is just a visual that helps us. So now the agenda is visible to all participants. However, they have not been notified that the agenda is here. That is a separate step, which is not mandatory. It's entirely up to you how you want to notify them. You can notify them by simply creating an email or a post in their Teams channel, or you can just send them an agenda pack, which is the next step that we're going to see. So let's do both. I'm going to notify them. And if I go back to my team, where everybody is a part of, here is the agenda that we have just posted. People can also suggest items from here if they wanted to. We mentioned earlier that agendas can be saved as templates. How do we do that? Let's assume that this is a full-fledged agenda. We have about 7 topics in there, and we would like to use this one in the future. In my meeting menu here, I have an option that allows me to save this agenda as a template. So I can give it a different name. I can add a description if I need it for it. I can use it as I can create it as a team template, which means that any counselor who is part of this full Cloudy Council team can use it, or otherwise I can just make it private and it will only be available to me. So let's go ahead and just use it in my own template, and I'm saving it. So now it's saved, we can reuse it. How do we reuse it? Let's first delete this one. Feel free to ignore this step. And once I have deleted it, we are back to square one. There is no agenda. And this time, instead of starting from scratch, I'm actually using a template. I don't want to use a private one because I don't think I have anything suitable in here. But maybe if I start from scratch, let me select my channel again. I also have the option here, select template, and that gives me access to more things. So I have my own templates, but I also have templates available to anybody who's part of Fully Cloudy Council. So here I'm going to maybe use this one. No, this is not good. This is one that is for a Dutch. Let's take this one, Full Council. Perfect. We are going to use this one, and I have the option again of going to draft and doing all the steps we did earlier, or I can just go ahead and save, or in the interest of time, let's just save it. Again, nobody's been notified yet, and we are not going to do it this time. We've already seen that. So this is our now full agenda. I can still make modifications even if I have published it. So maybe here I actually have some document to upload. I want to upload my document. And here I also have another supporting, and this is a great feature here. I could choose to link minutes from a previous meeting if I wanted to. I don't want to do that today.
I was going to say, yeah. Gabriella, that might be quite a good idea to show how adding them does.
I've just clicked on add, and here are my minutes have appeared as a supporting documentation to my topic. Let's save. And we are here. Let's add another document. This time I'm going to want to choose a PowerPoint, simply so that we can see what a different type of document behaves like. Right. So here is my full agenda. And my counselors like to receive an agenda pack as well. So I can prepare that for them with everything, including attachments. And I'm going to create something called a meeting book. Again, I go to the menu, I create meeting book. And I will do that starting from Word, but eventually I'll end up with a PDF version. So 1 second, I'm going to need to do some signing up here. Going to need to open it in my desktop app.
I was going to say there's some extra steps that Gabriella is doing here, which you won't normally have to do when you're signed into your local 365. It will open Word normally, and it will be 1, 2 or 3 less steps than what we're showing here. This is purely because of how we're demonstrating it today.
Yes. 1 second, I need to log in on my other screen, you'll see in a second what I'm about to do. Actually, let me see if it works from here. No.
So all of these, when we set decisions up for you, there is a plugin for Microsoft Word, a plugin for Teams, as Gabriella was showing, around varying parts of Teams. You get the decisions integration, and in Outlook there is a decisions panel as well. So if you are looking into creating of a meeting and you click the decisions D inside of Outlook or Teams, it will bring up the screens that you will then see. The web version is very, very slightly different and allows you to work across systems where you may not have Word and Outlook or Teams installed. You can access it via the web. So it allows, you can access the agenda on the go. So we'll just wait for Gabriella to bring Word in.
Yeah. Here we are. Apologies for that. Here we are. So this is the full desktop version. For you, as Steve was mentioning, none of this will be applicable. What I'm doing is simply because of the way I'm demonstrating it today. So I will need this add-in in here, without which I won't be able to perform the steps I'm about to perform. So the first thing I'm going to need to do as soon as it loads is decide what I want to include in my agenda pack. So here I have an overview of all of my agenda items together with the attachments that I had included. So maybe I don't want the meeting minutes to be included in full format in there. I can leave them out, but I do want the other types of supporting documentation. And I can hit next. Now, what happens is that my meeting book is being populated with all the information that was existing that was on my agenda. Let me also update the table of content here. Here we are. So we have that. So then we have information about the agenda. We have our topics nicely listed in here. We also have mentions of where there are attachments. And if I go ahead to merge my documents, I'm being informed that there will be attachments here. Let's pull it across. And again, I need, oh no, I'm sorry. I just logged in with the wrong. That's what happens when you use several accounts. Hopefully this won't be your case. Right, so depending on how many attachments you have and how heavy they are, this step might take more or less time. Here we are, we see them loading live. And here we are, our PDF is ready. Once it is ready, I can simply share it via email with all the other participants. So they'll just receive an email with my own text here. Let's not do that because we can open it anyway. Your meeting book will also sit here attached to your agenda, and you can open it from here as this PDF, and there will be a couple of notable differences in there. So the first one will be that you have a nice navigation panel on the side that allows you to jump up and down into the document. So we have here overviews, table of content, etc., etc. If I wanted to see the supporting documentation, I simply need to click on it. And I actually get a full overview of the document. So I get the full body of it, not just a link that I need to click. So that's pretty handy, especially if you have counselors that don't very much like to use apps. You can just send them the agenda pack. And they can do it like that. Now, let's imagine the meeting has started and I am the minutes taker. So I need to make some notes. And I have that option available to me. If I hover above the topic, I have here a button called My Notes. So maybe I don't want to work on the documents, on the minutes documents immediately. I want to just take my notes and then tidy them up and present them properly. So I can use OneNote for that. It will create a personal notebook and I will be the only person available to see this one. So I can only, I can choose to share the notes only when I'm ready. So it will open again in the online version. It's very nicely called My Meeting Notes. I have one tab for each of the meetings that I've been part of. So for instance, it's a previous meeting that I was part of. And here's the one I'm working on today. And then I have one tab for each of my topics. So let's say in apologies, I'm going to say none today. Let's mark it in yellow so that it makes it visible later. In public forum, we said 2 questions from members of the public. And so on. I can do the same for every single one of these topics. And I am done taking my notes. I think it's synced. Let's refresh. And now I know I have notes because I have this little yellow post-it here informing me what topics I have attached notes to. So during the meeting, obviously, there will be some action items, and there will also be some resolutions that we're going to make. So we can record those. Maybe here in minutes, let's make a resolution. So if I click on my button, I have the option here of new decision. And my title will be minutes document. And we have decided to update the minutes document format. Let's say moving forward, we want to use a different template. Let's make it a final one, and we save. So it appears here as one decision. We can see it. And if I wanted to go back to the entire list of decisions we've ever made in our council, I have the option here in this tile. If I click on it, I'll get a full overview of all of the resolutions we have ever made on this type of meeting and on this team. Similarly, for action points, so let's say here there is an action item that came up as a result of a question from a member of the public. Again, we go here. This time we'll click on new task, and I'll call it maybe follow up. And I'm going to say follow up with Jane. Let's say Jane is somebody that is known to us on this matter. It's assigned by default to the person who was in charge of presenting the topic. We can always change that or assign somebody else. So let's say Linda here is going to work with the clerk on this. We see it's linked to this meeting and we add. Similar to what we were seeing earlier with decision, we now have one task marked here. But this is not the only one that we have ever or we have open at the minute to be actioned. Similar to list of decisions, we also have a list of tasks. If I click on it, why are you signing me up? Let's try again. Cloudy. So what we get here is the Microsoft Planner with all the action items that are currently open for action. So let's move on here. You shouldn't see this one first time you use it. So here is everything we have open at the minute. It is split by meeting date and name, but we can also, for instance, change it and make it by person. So who are the people that actually need items to be actioned? This is how you do this one. Let's say I've taken all of my notes, I've recorded all of action points. I am now ready to produce some minutes. How do I do that? It is very easy. All I need to do is click on this minutes button here. Let's go to Word again. I prefer to use Word.
I think Word is the easier one to use, isn't it, Gabriella, in this case?
Yeah. And
the custom templates that we assist councils with producing, they're designed to work within Word. You can use OneNote if you weren't doing the minutes for a formal meeting. You could use OneNote, but in our examples here, we would be using Microsoft Word.
Same earlier. I do apologize. I need to log in again.
We won't put Gabriella under any pressure. Hi, Mia. Sorry.
No, I just think we really need to move on to the program, maybe wrap up the demo just to Good.
I think we'll do the minutes, Mia, then I think we'll show the web bit very, very quickly.
Yeah,
And
we're
let people
almost
see
done.
what that looks like. So we'll just do this.
Sounds good.
Right, so here is my template. Same as for the meeting book, I just need to select what I want to put in it. So I want my agenda description, my notes, obviously, that I've taken earlier, the resolutions and the action items, and I can also mark if anybody was absent. So let's say Helen here was not there. Let's merge. Here are my notes that I have taken earlier. We can see them here. Oh, excuse me. And we can also see the task and the decisions we have recorded. Everything's been already synchronized. I also have the option of sending them for review. So before I make them final and public, anybody who attended the meeting or hasn't attended the meeting can review them. And once this step is ready, I can finalize and create my final PDF document. Exactly the same as we did for the meeting book. And here we are. Again, I can either publish them in my Teams channel or I can email them to those interested. Again, if I just click on my PDF, I get exactly the same thing. So this would be it. And naturally, at this point, we have the question of how do we get them on the web? So here we are. We would go back to our meeting and we would go to our decisions web presence, where we should see information about the meeting that we've just organized and run. And we have also followed up on it.
We've got a couple of examples that we've done already, haven't we? So
yeah.
Again, we're very conscious of time. So Gabriella's going to show a couple of meetings that we've done earlier on. But the process is very, very quick, isn't it, Gabriella, to publish?
It is very, very quick as soon as it loads. And I hope I remember everything I've seen yesterday. As I said, it's very fresh and it's still under development. The problem when you work on remote.
It's the suspense of waiting for it to finish.
Yes, we've asked him to do normally you would do all of these steps obviously in stages, not everything at once. So the system would get less confused than it does today. Oh, we're getting somewhere. There we are.
There we go.
So this would be your interface. And if I were to just go and navigate to my own meetings, I would be able to see all of the meetings that I have organized. So for instance, if I go to my most recent meetings, my review committee here, I could update the minutes if I have added anything new. But then let me go to the actual agendas. Right. Here are all the meetings of that have already taken place, which are finalized. We have our review committee here. We can open the minutes straight from here. For those where we have also a meeting book, we can access it from here as well. So this would be how you would publish them online. And I think I'm going to leave it here to leave some time for other questions and things like that.
Yeah. Fantastic. That was absolutely great. So I'm going to click a couple of buttons and do this. And Fran, I think what it would be really, really good, I'm going to have to speed my way along to where you are. And Fran, it would be lovely to hear a few words from you about your experience with Decisions, please, for those that have joined us today. Gabriella's done a wonderful demonstration, but Fran, you've been using it, haven't you?
Yes, I was using it because I wanted a system. So because I'm traveling around a lot and getting involved with a lot of minutes, I wanted a system so that I could harmonize how I approached minutes, how I approached agendas, just so that I could be much more efficient. And then when I'm in councils, when I'm with councils, they see me using this system and they quite like it because it's really convenient. All members of staff can input and it's just so quick. I can be sat in a meeting and the minutes can be essentially created before the councillors have even got home. So it's saves me an awful lot of time, and it just makes the whole experience, because a lot of it is you just go into your same old templates, don't you, and you top and tail your same old templates each time, and sometimes you can get muddled up, and sometimes I'll notice I've got the wrong year on a template or whatever. But this is because it's a calendar based approach. You're creating something new every time, and it's always got the right date on it because you put it in the calendar, and you don't slip up by including ex-councillors and all sorts in your attendance list. It's much more intuitive than that. So it's easier than using a same old template and updating last month's agenda. And it's also so easy just to have those two documents that you've taken your notes and then they just merge. It's like magic. That bit is. I love that.
Well, Fran, one of the really useful features, for anyone who is a locum, or maybe they clerk for more than one council, it can support that as well, can't it? So you can have many identities within inside Decisions.
Yes, you do. Yeah, you can have all the different identities, but you sort of work in your different teams, don't you, as well? So I have a little box. I'm calling it box because I'm not the technical person. I have a little box for each council, and also you can have you've got your own individual agenda items that you can pull in, and some councils like them in different ways to others, don't they? They might. And it just means that you can maneuver things really easily. They become like little building blocks that you can just dip into, depending on where you are in the world and which council you're with. It makes life much easier. But then that would be the same as if you'd got different committees, because different committees work in different ways too. The chair of a committee might like certain things that they wouldn't want in full council. So yeah, it equally works across the larger councils with lots of committees, and and even very small councils if I'm a locum, then going into each different one. Yeah.
Fantastic. This is one of the best bits. I was thinking while you were talking, almost like building agendas with Lego. You can just keep putting the bits together wherever you want them, and each person has an individual idea, and Decisions is so powerful that it can cover that. So Fran, thank you very much. I know we're awfully tight on time, so I'm going to move on very, very quickly. We have some fixed pricing for Decisions. These are fantastic. They fit all size councils. So if you've got up to 6 users, you can start off at the bottom and work your way up as you go. So that's on our website. Or if you want to speak to us individually about that and the setup and what you need to do, ping myself or David an email and we'll get a quote over to you. Now, interestingly, Management in Action 2023, we're sponsoring that this year, and we have a digital experience room. So in there, you can have hands-on experience with broadcasting equipment, tech for councils, and of course, Decisions. And the most exciting part is there's 3 fantastic prizes up for grabs: a trip to the IIMC conference in the Netherlands for a clerk, an OWL meeting broadcasting system, and a luxury hamper. So we'll be advertising this on our website very, very shortly. SLCC will also be including this in their promotional material for Management in Action this year. Mia will be there, Gabriella will be there, Francesca may be there, we will be there, of course, and we would really, really look forward to seeing any of you come and join us at Management in Action. And like I say, this digital experience room is brand new, and it will allow you away from the main area to have a play with Decisions and ask some direct questions, maybe see it directly in action and have a go. The same with the broadcasting. We'll be doing some mock-ups in there. So are there any questions and answers? So if there's any, myself, David, Mia and Gabriella, if you want to unmute yourself and ask away. I think we've done really, really well, everybody. I think everybody's seen some fantastic information there. So David, I think you're muted. Were you going to? Yeah, you've muted, David.
There we go. Can you hear me, Steve?
Yeah, all fine now.
I'd just like to thank Steve and Francesca for coming along and speaking about decisions, and Gabriella and Mia as well. Apologies, I couldn't join in and sound a busy Starbucks. There's all sorts of chaos going around me, but I hope you all found it really interesting. Just a small snapshot of the wonderful features that Decisions has. We've worked really hard to customize it for the sector, make it easier for clerks and counsellors as well. We probably haven't shown more than half the features that are available, but only a glimpse of what's possible, certainly. But thanks for joining us. We don't want to overrun because we know we've all got busy days, and please do join us again, or if you've got any questions, just do get in touch. We'd love to answer them. But Steve, I'll let you close off if you want.
Thank you very much. And as Mia's just put there, if you want to try Decisions yourself, you can scan the QR code that appears up on the final slide. Again, all of this information is available on our website. We're more than happy to have conversations with any clerks or council officers about how Decisions can work for them and arrange some demonstrations, a longer, more personalised demonstration of that. So I'll wrap up. Thank you very much, everybody. Francesca, lovely having you on as a guest this month, and we look forward to probably having you on again in the future. Gabriella and Mia, as always from Decisions, absolutely wonderful seeing you here. And Gabriella, again, I think all of those present will thank you for that very thorough and informative demonstration. On that note, I wish everybody a very well Thursday, and we look forward to seeing you all soon, if not in Management in Action in 2003. Thank you.